power utility. So basically 3D power allows you to control the three different functions of your power delivery. So voltage, frequency, and phase. So basically users can just click on the different functions like frequency here, and you'll be given a bunch of different options in order to change your power delivery. So let's say I wanted to influence my CPU PWM frequency. So I click that, and I can just scroll and adjust based on whatever settings you want. So I'm going to cancel out of that. So as I mentioned earlier before, this affects both CPU, VTT, the integrated graphics, as well as the memory. So that's frequency. I can just click to the main, and you can do the same things with voltage. So I'll quickly go into voltage here, and you'll see turbo voltage response, load line calibration, over voltage protection, and then phase as well. So there you have it. That's Gigabyte's 3D power utility. It allows for a really advanced and fine-tuning control of your power delivery for both the CPU, the integrated graphics, the memory, and the VTT.
So, next up is 3D BIOS, which we call dual UEFI. So, this is our second series of motherboards that's using UEFI BIOS. And a lot of the code in the BIOS is written by us because we have our own BIOS team from Award. But some of the code is licensed from AMI. So if you look into the BIOS, it'll say they're licensed by licensed from AMI. So it's not the same as what everyone else is using, but some of the code does come from there. Now, Gigabyte has had dual BIOS for many years. I think we first introduced dual BIOS in 2000, so 12 years now we've had dual BIOS. The reason for that is, if we look at RMA, motherboards that come back, for any motherboard maker, the number one cause of RMA is BIOS issues. And your BIOS can be attacked by a virus, or it can be damaged by, say, power fluctuations. On Wednesday, we had lunch in Delhi, and while we're having lunch, suddenly the power went up twice. If you flash up your PC, you start up your PC and the power dies, you unplug it by mistake or something, your BIOS can be corrupted right there. So we have a main BIOS and a backup BIOS. If the main BIOS is corrupted, the backup BIOS will reflash it, totally renew it within 15 seconds. And then your PC starts up. You don't have to touch your PC, just leave it. If you want to test it, put yourself a Gigabyte motherboard system, switch it on, and while it's booting up, unplug it. Plug it in again and see what happens. It'll automatically just reflash and continue. So that cuts our RMA in half, just with dual BIOS. So this is a high physical cost for us, because UEFI is quite large. So we have a 64 MB flash module on the motherboard. We have two of them. Other motherboard makers only have one. We have to pay that extra BOM cost, extra bill of materials cost. So when it comes to entry-level motherboards, very cost-effective motherboards, we will never ever be able to compete with the likes of MSI, Asrock, whoever, anybody actually, because we have more components, more expensive components on our motherboards, like dual BIOS. So we have to make our motherboards better value for money, not cheaper, better value for money.
Yeah, but since you're already anticipating cost savings on your RMA, you should be able to.
That's how we justify it. Because if you look at our profits, right, our pricing is pretty similar to our competitors. Their cost is lower than ours, so they're making more profit than us. But we can justify that smaller profit because we know we have a 3-year warranty, and over that 3-year lifespan, we're going to have lower RMA coming back to us. So that's how we can justify a lower profit at sale time.
No, but I'm still wondering about why your products will still be priced a bit higher than your competitors. I didn't say that.
It's like G41 and all. Gigabyte G41 is the cheapest one.
Yeah.
Our price, if we talk about competitors, I was talking about market share earlier on. So, ASUS and Gigabyte each sell around about 20 million motherboards per year. between us, we have more than 50% market share. So our competitor is ASUS. Everybody else is Junior.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our closest competitor after ASUS would be ASRock and MSI. They're about 7-8 million each. So tier 1, 20 million. Tier 2, 7-8 million. Big difference between tier 1 and tier 2 globally, right? We only have one real competitor. And tier 3 is like 3-4 million motherboards each. That's all the other motherboard makers. So if you're going to compare prices, compare to ASUS. Don't compare to somebody else who cuts corners, who doesn't have Japanese solid capacitors, who doesn't have better quality components on their motherboards. You've got to compare apples to apples. If you don't care about quality, fine. Buy those motherboards, right? Welcome you. You'll buy 2 at the time that you can only buy 1 for Gigabyte. You only need to buy 1 for Gigabyte. So, dual UEFI BIOS. I explained about having a main BIOS and a backup BIOS. And if you go into the 3D BIOS application, right, you'll have a 3D BIOS version and you'll have the advanced BIOS version. So in the 3D BIOS you get this picture of the motherboard, and if you click on this little icon over here, it'll change the angle, the same as with the X79. The difference between this is, number one, this BIOS is a little bit more mature than the X79 BIOS because it's the second generation. But also, we're using a single picture. Actually, there'll be 2 pictures, one for micro ATX, one for full ATX. Whereas with X79, you would have a picture of that actual motherboard. Here we're using a generic picture. The reason for that is, with X79 there were 3 models. So 3 different BIOSes that we had to design. With these Z77, there will be like 30, 40 models. So we can't have a different BIOS for each of them, so we've got to try and reduce the workload there. So what happens is, you can take your cursor and move your cursor around the motherboard. For example, if you move it over the SATA ports and you click on that, then you get this little window, for example, asking you what is your boot priority that you want. You're going to boot from flash disk, or from DVD-ROM, or from hard drive. Very easy to use. It's just a sort of fun little application that general PC users can use. For guys like yourselves who are a little bit more advanced, media, power users, that sort of thing, overclockers, we have the advanced BIOS, advanced mode. And there you'll find all of the features that overclockers are looking for. So, a lot more features there. Again, we have a video.
A while back, my colleagues do introduce 3D BIOS on our X79 platform. Well, Gigabyte, we're very excited to be able to introduce 3D BIOS to our Z77 platform as well. So in front of me, I have a system that has our 3D BIOS running. So for those of you who want to check out or who haven't seen our video from Stu, you might want to check that out to get a fuller understanding of our 3D BIOS. So quickly, I just want to show you some of the new things that we've done for Z77. So first up, as you can see, we have a picture of our motherboard that shows different areas that you can actually control the settings for. You can change this view of the motherboard in each of the different sections, like the memory section. You can just click on easily and make your changes using the slider bars. So memory, CPU frequency, voltages, that is all able to be changed through our 3D BIOS utility. We've also added some new icons down at the bottom here as well. So for example, our boot priority. It'll list all the different boot devices that you have, your hard drives, your thumb drives, things like that. And you can change the priorities by just moving these. I only have one device on here now, but you get my meaning. And also languages. We have multi-languages this time for Z77 platform and 3D BIOS. So this, again, is for more novice users. We give a lot of help as to what sort of changes, what they influence on the board are, so people actually can understand what changes that we're doing. But for people who are used to using a traditional BIOS, we also allow them to do that as well through our professional mode. So as you can see, we have all the usual settings that we have for our traditional BIOS. You can still use a keyboard and mouse. You can just go into each individual settings, make your changes. So we've got both the professional version and our 3D BIOS version as well.
So that's Gigabyte's new 3D BIOS for our Z77 platform.